Okay, my t-shirt is Listen to Bob, and that's me. Okay, the message that I just got is reinforcing what we've been saying on these channels for quite a long time. That is, what are you described if you're going to go and talk to a small child of about 6 years old, and, they're asking, well, what are we? And, at 6 years old, you don't give them like a Latin name like Homo sapiens sapiens. That's too advanced for children of age 6. So what you do is you say, we're human beings. And then a lot of kids say, human beings? I had beans for lunch. And then you have to say, no, not beans, as in has been. No, we're human beings. Well, hue is like a shade of a color, is a hue. You could also say that hue is a tone. It's a tone, and if you go hue, it gives you a nice tone, and it helps you to connect to source. Believe it or not, Ekankar people out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, really encourage you to make that noise, hue or hue. Let's see. So man. Well. I'm sorry, it sounds sexist. Human. Well, I mean, there's woman. I mean, I'm a man, and then why do you add woman? It's womb. Womb man. So it's someone who's got a womb and, can give birth. But, so I guess try not to look at it as sexist. I mean, I don't know. It's very difficult. English is a difficult language to try and explain to people who are first learning it, because it's archaic in a lot of ways. In other words, it's such an ancient language in some words, and trying to modernize the word human to, why don't we just stick with beings? We're beings. And that was the message I just got on a license plate. And I just got 4 pigeons, which are a breed of dove, which is all about, love. So we're love beings. And the difficult thing about being a being, okay, what I saw was letter B, and then a V, and then another V, and then an E. So the two V's represent down arrows, okay? On your keyboard, a down arrow. So I had 2 downs, and the B and the E were the bookends. So what does that mean? Well, to me, the 2 down arrows means it's coming down through your crown chakra and down into your body. And the message is be. So, in essence, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be. And the purpose of being a being is to be. To be or not to be, that is the question. It was from Hamlet, I believe, Shakespeare. And what else? I mean, human doings are like, there's so many things that humans do. But do we take out enough time to be? Am I doing something or am I being something right now? Okay, so that truck that just went by behind me with the loud, nasty music, maybe you don't think it's nasty music. I think it's nasty music. It's raunchy. Really raunchy. And it was an older guy that looked like he was about 60 playing really raunchy music. Loud, with the window down, and I can hear it way over here. So, to me, that particular old man he's like a small penis man. Another video recently I said, the old story is men that buy great big trucks with big wheels and, big, huge wheels and jack them up really high. A lot of times people say that symbolizes a small penis. I'm going to tell you that some man who's 60 years old, who's driving a truck, playing really raunchy, nasty music, has got some ego issue. He is trying to draw attention to himself. And whatever his attention is, it's not on anything pleasant at all. It's on very low vibe music. Now, Dr. David R. Hawkins, who did consciousness research, said the type of music that you listen to will affect your vibration. In other words, your level of consciousness. So, if you play, I'm sorry, but if you listen to really nasty rap music, it lowers your vibe significantly. It entrains you in a very low frequency vibe. And if you think of like Compton in California and the days of rap, well, what did you have? You had a crime-filled city full of nasty. And, some people say, well, I like it or something. Well, the whole point is that kind of music draws in a lot of shootings. Tupac is dead. Biggie Smalls is dead. This is the kind of music. So, I don't know. I mean, if that doesn't illustrate the problem with this kind of music, nothing will. Maybe some people say, well, it's about F the police or something. Well, I'm sorry, if you're walking around with guns ready to shoot at anybody and have street wars with guns, it's one of these bad video games like Grand Theft Auto where they're training you how to be a criminal. Listen to Bob. So in other words, the kind of music you're choosing affects your vibration and it affects your consciousness. And if you want to be dragged into ego, listen to this kind of stuff. Alternatively, if you want to lighten up your load, you could try listening to Louis Armstrong or Olivia Newton-John. Some people will say, well, kind of old-fashioned. I mean, even in karaoke, I sing a wide variety of songs. And, I'll do, like, Gimme Shelter from the Rolling Stones. And, I'm not afraid to do these kind of musics. And it's simply because it's just a variety of music. But I listen to a variety of music, and then when I'm at a karaoke bar, and if I hear like very heavy music, like, I hate to keep saying rap, but there's a lot of this other kind of music that is just, it's very, it brings people in because they start drinking lots of alcohol to it. And then they get into a fight all the time. It's the music and the booze together. It's a nasty situation. Anyways, if you want to raise your vibration, watch the kind of music that you're playing here. Now, I'm going to try to see what my time is. Oh, hell. Well, it's very difficult to try and keep it to 10 minutes so I can get it on Instagram TV. So I guess this video is either going to get cut to under 10 minutes, or I'm going to put it on YouTube. Okay, what other kinds of things can you do to raise your consciousness? If you go into works of great architecture, they will tend to raise your consciousness. So, what would be a good example? If you went to an old growth forest, in other words, a forest with very ancient trees, that is a place which is going to really raise your vibration. Going for a sail with no music in the background, just the sound of the wind and the sail, and maybe the little clinking noises that, are made on a sailboat. When the wind hits certain metallic things, it's kind of a clicking sound. That is incredibly peaceful and a lot of fun. Art galleries, depending on the kind of art, because some kinds of art are inspiring and you go, wow, that's an incredible artist. Their ability to bring something to me. The kind of art that's not going to be good for you is kind of art that you just don't like. Despite the fact somebody else might say, well, it's all art. For you, it might look like graffiti, and you might think graffiti is like, what I've got here on the sidewalk. It's just something it's not art. It's just somebody defacing the sidewalk. Now, for me, I actually like this graffiti on the sidewalk. Because I like the color. I like the red and the yellow. So I can see something kind of nice. I don't mind it, but I know certain people that would say it's graffiti and it's defaced the sidewalk and they want a plain sidewalk. So, in other words, if you don't enjoy something of a certain taste, and that's the art, don't go to that art show unless you're trying to expand your consciousness and trying to let things go, like the reason why I hate this kind of art. Other places you can go, Dr. David R. Hawkins of Consciousness Research said if you went to things like church cathedrals, basilicas, perhaps if you went to see Big Ben in London, England, London Bridge, if you see pictures of old London, before it became all skyscrapery, Christopher Wren was the architect of old London. And I think what happened was, after the Great Fire of London, Christopher Wren was asked to be the architect for beautiful things to rebuild London. So look up Christopher Wren, the architect, to see pictures of what he did in old London. And he was very much into focal points. So he was very concerned with the height of buildings. He didn't want people to see the tallest building to be a garbage dump. He wanted the tower to be the church cathedral, because the church cathedral in those days was a sign of inspiration. And so from anywhere you were in town, you could see the tall buildings, and they were beautiful, and they reminded you to be a being. And I'm trying to stay away from too much religiosity of it all. But just, the inspiring architecture, the beautiful handiwork, the craftsmanship that went into these buildings, and the bridges in those days were incredibly beautiful. Unfortunately, in the modern cities, a lot of modern cities are horribly planned, and they've got way too many skyscrapers that are cookie cutter and not pretty and block sight lines. I'll give you Vancouver, Canada, which has got the most beautiful natural scenery, incredibly lovely mountains, snow-capped part of the year, and beautiful ocean views. And what do? Well, they keep throwing skyscrapers up. And they used to have rules about sight lines, so skyscrapers couldn't block your sight lines. Well, they've thrown it all away, and they've turned the place into a disaster zone. Unbridled growth in Vancouver, Canada has ruined that city. Now the city is overcrowded, unbelievably expensive, so nobody but the most filthy rich people can live there. And the towers block the views. Some people say from the towers you can see views. Well, some towers you can still see views, but a lot of towers block the views of other towers. And what does it mean? It means you've jammed too many people into Vancouver. And, well, I've lived there and I moved away because it's too many people in too small of a place. Never mind the expense of it all. And the traffic is unbelievably gross. There's too many cars, too many people, because they've built up to jam more people in, and they think that makes a livable city. It doesn't. It ruined the city. And the skyscrapers are not even skyscrapers like in Chicago, Illinois. They're not majestic. In Chicago, the skyscrapers are majestic. And Chicago has kept its Art Deco buildings, like the Wrigley building, for example. They're very cute to see. Vancouver is a dump. The skyscrapers are all glass. Reflective glass, so it's glass reflecting on glass, reflecting on glass. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible place. Horrible, horrible place. And anyway, it was ruined mostly because of the ego. The ego of people who have got money and want to invest. And they want to invest their money in real estate. So they throw it in and they get garbage things built there. And then they pile on ego after ego after ego. There is nothing pretty about the towers in Vancouver. And they ruined the skyline. So if you're downtown, you can't even see the mountains and you can't see the ocean. Unless you go way up high in the tower right on the edge of the city. On the edge of the city in a tower, you can see the view a little bit. But the rest of the place, you can't see it because there's other towers blocking your view. So you're living in a concrete nightmare. How's it going to change? They need a good... Okay, I won't say it. But the point is, there's a big fault line, more than one fault line on the west coast of North America. And, well, there's an awful lot of towers made of huge plate glass. Now, supposedly these towers are designed to withstand, but if they don't, and you happen to be walking your dog down the street in downtown Vancouver, well, I'm going to tell you, it's most likely going to happen that these glass plates are going to fall off these towers, and they're going to come crashing to the ground, and if you don't get hit by the plate, it's going to shatter into a million pieces, and you're going to get hit by the shattered glass. So is there a more dangerous place on planet Earth than Vancouver, Canada? There is no more dangerous place than Vancouver, Canada. So not in addition to the danger of the falling glass from the skyscrapers, there's also not so much in Vancouver because it's kind of around Vancouver Island. But if there's a mega thrust, tsunamis, there's other places in the West Coast that are more likely to get hit by tsunamis. And if that happens, well, so if you live in Vancouver, Canada, should you stay? It's up to you. The unfortunate thing is that if you're a Canadian, Vancouver is basically the warmest city, and the rest of the country experiences very cold winters. Even Toronto has cold. So, you know, if you're Canadian, that's the warmest place to be. And no one says, you know, it's super nice all year round. November and December are months to avoid Vancouver. Very rainy and cold. Once it gets past that season, it's still cool, but the sun comes back. And, you know, by mid-February, you've got daffodils coming up. So the natural beauty of British Columbia is spectacular. It's unfortunate that human egos have ruined the city of Vancouver. And, you know, anyway, I see the same garbage in every city on planet Earth because it's all about mookie money. Mookie money. It's not about housing people. It's about getting as much profit and resale value as you can on building. Anyways, I'm not going to go on and on. If you want good architecture, I've given you some places to go. Thank you for watching. I'm Harry Weaver.